watch. Greetings, fellow leaders, fellow youth mappers from the African continent and across the world. It's so lovely to have you with us here for this very, very special event. It's the Digital Earth Africa live session, which we host every Wednesday. And then it's going to be followed by the reason I believe most of you are here, which is the Digital Earth Africa and Youth Mappers Technical Challenge Winners Announcement. My name is Maud Nale. I'm the communications lead at Digital Earth Africa, and it's so lovely to have you with us. I don't know if we all know each other. I don't think so. So maybe during the course of the day, you can hop into the chat box and introduce yourself. Let us know who you are, which country you're representing. Are you a youth mapper? Are you in business? Who knows? You might find your next professor. You might find your next supervisor. Anyone you were able to find here today. It's so lovely to have you with us. Let's get started so that we don't waste any time. We're going to start with our live session. We host these every single Wednesday right here at Digital Earth Africa. And the topic for today's discussion is all about crop health. Digital Earth Africa imagery helps measure plant health over time and identify any changes in growth patterns between otherwise similar fields. To tell us more about the subject, I would like to introduce today's facilitator. He is no stranger right here at Digital Earth Africa and on these live sessions. You would have seen him probably at events. He's very active on social media. He is the capacity development lead for Digital Earth Africa. Please join me in welcoming onto the virtual stage, Dr. Kenneth Mubia, who will be talking on the topic of crop health. Over to you, Kenneth Mubia.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled by this participation. I'm Ken from Kenya. Today's presentation is on crop health. My role is at capacity development lead, connecting everybody in Africa to this Digital Africa. So the platform is here for us to make use of and to empower us to do much more. And in the context also of the next presentation, which is scheduled for today, it will be just similar to what we can do in the context of Africa in terms of food security and et cetera. So as introduced by my colleague Maud, crop health is possible on the D-Africa platform using the imagery that we have, privileged to have Sentinel-2 at 10 meters for the whole continent, which is in a format which is called analysis-ready format, making sure that you can access it without even downloading and able to view large fields of plantations, any that you might have from different parts of the continents, and also be able to use the vegetation index to get the differences between vegetation and also look at the health and also look at different seasons of planting or even harvesting. Very impactful for us to address food security. From the Digital Earth Africa platform, you can access it via two ways. There's a D-Africa Maps, which is a platform which I'll be able to show you shortly. Then also we have the Sandbox, which provides analysis-ready platform where we can access some of these notebooks which are already packaged. And as you can see the format, there's a directory where you can actually assess each of these from crop health in the real-world example folder. Even we have other information that you might have, especially if you've joined us for the first time. And thank you so much for connecting with us. Without so much, just as a summary, it's possible to measure the crop health, and it normally starts when you think about the area that you want to look at, and even some of those areas you can actually throw them in the chart, just like a study area that I had, and I'm able to investigate the crop health over certain areas. This is an irrigation area which looks a little bit green, and here the notebook that we use on the D-Africa platform helps us to load the data, and we can even change the indices from normalized different index or even enhanced vegetation index to look at the crop productivity over time. And the best part about it, since we are all young people trying to address the food productivity situation in Africa, you can view a different area and you can actually see how you can actually plot each piece of land from each section. So using imagery at 10 meters is quite impactful for the whole continent. So with this particular example, I wish to go to the Sandbox, whose address is here, sandbox.dafrica.com. And here you're able to access the platform in this format, and you just need an email address and you're able to log in. And also we have a user guide directory, which I'll be able to put in the chat, which also might help you for those who are connecting with us for the first time and might wish to know much more information, including also other colleagues who've joined us from different parts of the continent. So in the real world folder, which is this one, you can be able to see different folders where you can save your work and you can navigate differently. And now looking at the crop health, this is particular notebook which I wish to introduce to you, and also we'll be able to introduce others as well, so that you can be able to get much more information. And in this particular context, you're able to load the data and just change the area of your choice. And we have some default locations that we can actually work with and see how it works, and even change some of the dates and we see how it works. And from this particular notebook, I'll be able to show you something on phenology, which might be useful. And also you can also look at the phenology radar, because then most of our areas are affected by cloud cover. And most people ask if, for example, some of you even calling from Sierra Leone or somewhere where we have a lot of cloud cover, especially in the equatorial area, we can be able to use different notebooks to assess that. And from my notes, I can be able to see how the difference goes. So for this one, I'm able to run it where I restart and run all the cells so that you can actually see the trend. And for this particular example, and also work around how we can change different parameters in any of the notebooks. And the session is also recorded that we'll be able to share with you, that you can be able to follow up from where you're connecting us from. And also very grateful that you've joined us today. The live session is very special, so that we're able to connect in a few minutes with participants from the YouthMappers, who will also share the amazing programs and projects that they tend to cover. So for this particular one, I'm able to get a certain location, and you can finish your polygon and it's able to plot. Then you can look at a neighbor's piece of land or yours. You can see the trend over time, and the greenness range from 0 to 1, where towards 1 we have very good vegetation, and also it guides on the dates and the months, so we can see potential dates for harvesting and possibly where there was replanting, and you can actually see much more. The best thing is that you can also plot several pieces of land, and each plot has a different color, which is very impactful. The other part of it, in case you're not sure, you can always clear some of these parts, and you can choose to clear one, or when you're not sure, you can click and delete it, and etc, etc. Then on the same, I can choose to have a different area. For example, the ones that we have here, some coffee locations in Tanzania, and also you can even change the dates, which are actually using Sentinel-2, thanks to the great work with our technical team, working closely with Edward Boma, Colin from Ghana, who's here, and Victoria Nyaga from Katoza, based in Kenya, and other colleagues, Joseph Tushimere from Rwanda, and other partners that we've been working with, including our implementing partners who are distributed over the continent. Really impactful program for everyone, an opportunity for you to join us and be part of this amazing program, leaving no one behind. So for this particular coffee location, I can choose to click different areas. I can also choose to click again and get different region, and I'll get the plot. Then also you can change the size of the box, the bounding box, which is the parameters from here. You can choose to any figure. Then I can also choose a different area, such as croplands in different regions. For example, that was Kenya. Then I can choose to run the notebook. So not much knowledge on the programming, just an opportunity for us to be empowered to use the tool to make a difference in the continent. Maybe you're calling us from office or even in your car. You can be empowered to use the platform. Earth observation is here to stay, to make sure that we are more empowered in the continent, Africa, supporting different programs, government, and everybody. And also for you who put your videos, it's great to see that you're connecting us from far and wide, and welcome so much. And don't be left out all these recordings will be shared with you. So different regions, different reflectance, it's possible, you'll see. Then from that, I had in mind to show you something on the phenology optical. This is used on Sentinel-2 data, and also it is using a continental cropland that was developed by the partners with Digital Africa, including implementation. These are partners from Nigeria, Niger, Senegal, Tunisia, South Africa, and Kenya, and East Africa, and everybody was connected. And this one is actually using the vegetation index, and it's the same story that was in the other example. And you can also choose to use different indexes like the enhanced vegetation, and it will load the imagery. So for this particular example, I'll just run it for this particular area and be able to see some of the results. Then from here, I can actually even borrow some of the coordinates from the croplands in Senegal and do same example, and we can see how it's able to plot. Also, when it runs, you can always choose to stop, and maybe you can come in and put some coordinates that you might think of, and you can, it's very dynamic, as you can see, making sure that you are empowered to do your impactful analysis and leaving no one and no place behind. So this is on the phenology optical, then I'll do the radar. Then going back to my notes is that at least I've been able to show you the phenology notebooks, and it's currently running on the background, and I'm able to get information, including planting and seasons of harvesting. So this is also some literature that has been borrowed. It can be very impactful for a piece of land that you know and have some ground information. You can have a yearly plot for 1 year. This is quite useful comparing 2 years and what is happening. And finally, you can come up with this information, which can show you the start of a season, planting, harvesting, and even end, and even when the farmer decides to grow a different crop. And also we have the same when we use the phenology as well as radar, similar steps, but in the radar we're using Sentinel-1, and we are using a special index called the radar vegetation index, which is quite useful. And because of all of us being researchers, we might tend to ask about the equation used, and it is actually here. Then you can see the trends, and finally you're able to see the plot is similar to what I have. Then I'll just go back to this to the same example, and also the link to these slides will be shared in the chat so that you'll be more empowered. This was the other example, which was doing for phenology notebook, and it's able to run for a different area, a small piece of land. So it means it can actually run to quite a lowest level of an area. So this one shows you for a specific area, and it's quite impactful to where you're using it. And also I can choose to use a bigger area covered from different examples. So I had planned to show this one is an example for Egypt. So it will run and we'll be able to see how that one results. Then I go for the radar example, which is using Sentinel-1 data, very impactful. And it has been available for the last 5 years or 7. And we put it in the DAfrica platform in analysis ready format, very useful. And even going beyond today's topic, we've used Sentinel-1 to look at flood mapping in some areas. And actually we are using Lokoja as an example in Nigeria. So the platform is accessible from any part of the continent. I'll be able to run it so that you can see how it runs. So the good thing with the Africa Sandbox is that you can run many examples at once and multitasking the way we all like doing. However, just multitasking on your analysis and not eating at the same time. So just trying to be a little bit cautious. So this is an example for Alawat Al Desert in Egypt, the crop circles, as you can see them from space, and it will be able to run for some time. Then the beauty of the information that I have, I can choose to copy these as a bonus for you and put it on the DAfrica map, which is a very interesting platform that you can actually see how things are on the ground, so that you can actually be more empowered to use both platforms to investigate somewhere that you might have in mind. And on the D Africa map, you can choose to choose different map settings on the background. So I'll choose it for this particular area of the crop circles. We have in this particular desert in Egypt. And zooming in, you can see how they have done similar crop circles. This means they're using irrigation. So also I can choose to change the background so that I can take advantage of the D Africa data. This one I'm able to add the satellite imageries, even the latest one for this particular area. So we have Sentinel-2, Landsat 9, 8, all these in analysis ready format. Means longer the days we are going to download data, we're just gonna get them just on the D Africa platform in analysis ready format, where we've worked with our partners to make sure we get the right data. So for example, these crop circles, you can see the latest imageries just 2 days ago, and even you can choose to have the previous dates. And since you're interested in doing some changes on these crop areas, you can choose to have different dates, one being the 23rd, and also you can just think ahead and try to use a different year, for example, January of 2019, for the same particular location where you can see some trends, most likely because of the time slice which have been used. For us to see much good changes with any crop fields, we choose to use a false color composite so that you can see slightly some changes, but could be impactful or something that you can use, or also that you can borrow. And also we can go to the NDVI itself, which is the vegetation index, and just have a feel of the same area. And since some of you are not believing what I'm doing, I can just copy the link and share with you on the chat so that you can have a look on the same and will be more empowered. And also going back to show you that we have the user guide with all the materials and notebooks, including all the steps borrowed, including even connecting with your external data sources. And also we have the introduction to Sandbox, some of these tools, where if you look at the learning platform, you'll be able to access the introduction to Sandbox, and once you finish, you'll get a certificate of completion. And some of us in this call have completed one of these courses, and some of you even have finished the Digital Africa Water Resources in English, and there are much more, including also the user guide, which I mentioned. And also we have all these details about what we do in the GitHub, which will be useful in case you need more information to share or to cite with your colleagues, or some of you are using different platforms, and making sure that our platform is able to be accessed by anybody. And also for some of these, you can actually choose to compare or even export some sections of the data. You can even get a difference of 2 images or different areas. And it gives you an option of changing the dates, which will be very useful for you when you're doing your analysis. And you can get results as you can see, different dates. You can get some of these dates and information. You can choose to use the NDVI as a difference, and you can choose your output as any of the indices. So for the context of today's example was to use the NDVI, which is a vegetation index. And in other examples, you might choose different indexes based on the situation, such as water, which is a topic we'll have next after 1 week. But for the purposes of today's class session, today it was in English, and next week my colleague Joseph Tushimire will be able to cover the course in French, same crop health. And these are the connection links, and the link in the slides will be shared to you shortly. And ours from Digital Africa is to thank you for connecting with us, and handing over to the moderator, Maud Nale, to give us the way forward. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much to you, Ken, for that very concise presentation, very pedagogic. I'm sure the leaders in this audience who this is targeted for surely understand what this is all about. I'm not sure if anyone has any questions. I haven't seen any in the chat box. Ken, I don't know if you want to say any final words or maybe Do you want to lead a short question and answer at this point?
I think because of the time we had and the connection, and I think some of the questions have been put on the chat, and also we have your contacts for follow-ups. Ours is to encourage you to use the platform, that it's here to stay, and some of the people in this meeting are some of our implementing partners who are located in your different countries. For example, Niger, we have Agreement. We have in Nigeria, we have Afrigist in Ife. In Senegal, we have Center Sevli Ecologie, Senegal. In Tunisia, we have Observation Sahel Observatory. This is in Tunisia. And Eastern Southern Africa, we have Regional Center for Mapping. And of course, our program is hosted by the South African National Space Agency, making sure that the program is owned by everybody in Africa. Also, the sessions in English and French, and I believe with your participation and collaboration, we'll be able to add more languages, including Swahili, which could come soon for some of the colleagues in Eastern and Central Africa. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much to you, Ken. I know you shared your details at the end. Maybe you want to go back to that slide in case someone wants to screen grab this page and get your details and connect with yourself and the team, Joseph Tishimura and Edward Boma. They are always available to answer any of your questions you may have. And this recording will also be made available, so you will be able to catch up with that information. Thank you so much to you, Ken, for that presentation on crop health. I trust you found it useful. Please go back and deconstruct this recording, and you're more than welcome to reach out to Ken and the team if you have any further questions. We're now going to move on to the second event, and I think the reason why many of us are here today, and that is the Digital Earth Africa and YouthMappers Technical Challenge Winners announcement. I'm not going to steal the shine from all the people who are about to speak, but to tell us more about this collaboration, I'm going to call onto the stage our facilitator, who is also representing Digital Earth Africa today, our capacity development lead. One more time, Dr. Kenneth Mubia. Over to you, Dr. Mubia.
Thank you so much. On behalf of Digital Africa, Digital Africa partnered with YouthMappers to make sure that we connect with the young people who are doing many works around the world. And with this partnership with YouthMappers, it means Digital Africa is able to connect to these 55 countries. However, we've met some challenges in some of the countries, like in Botswana, where they mentioned they might not have a youth chapter. But this challenge gave them an idea that they need to team up in the university to come up with a chapter. They will have mentors. So this is very useful to us in the continent in terms of mentoring and mentorship. And the mentees are actually in this call, and the mentors are very few in the continent. But with the YouthMappers, they're able to see and give us these connections. And some of these projects were several, of which my colleague from YouthMappers will talk about the background and the process. But from Digital Africa, we are really grateful, so that we leave no one and no place behind. Over to you, Marcella.
Thank you so much to you, Kenneth. You spoke about YouthMappers. I know the YouthMappers are in the room, and I'm interested to know which YouthMappers are you representing. So let us know in the chat box, YouthMappers, where are you joining us from, and which chapter of YouthMappers are you representing today? It would be lovely to hear and see all the comments coming through from the chat box. We spoke about YouthMappers. In fact, that's probably the word of the day, #YouthMappers. And to introduce not only YouthMappers, to tell us more about it and the projects, the winning projects, I'm going to call onto the stage the two leaders representing YouthMappers today, starting off with Laura Mugia, who is the YouthMappers Regional Ambassador based in Kenya, as well as Marcella Zebalos, the Managing Director for YouthMappers. Ladies, the virtual stage is yours.
What we are is that we are a network of student-led university clubs, and these clubs are, and these students who are interested in open mapping. So it's not just for geography students or students who are undertaking courses in geomatics, but so long as you have an interest in using open mapping in one way or the other, you are able to join a YouthMappers chapter and participate in its activities. And a little bit of history about how the network started. It was launched in 2015 in the USA in November during a GIS Day event there. And when the network started, it just had 4 chapters. all in the US with the support of the USAID Geocenter. But 8 years later, we have more than 340 chapters across the world, covering more than 65 countries. And because this challenge is focusing on the African region, it's really important to share that we have so many chapters within the continent who are doing amazing things. And in as much as your chapters in universities, what do? We mainly work on mapping activities that are in response to data needs for development. So as we all know, around the world, there's been a huge need for using data for different purposes to support decision-making, whether it's by government, by organizations, by different institutions, and also as individuals. And unfortunately, not all parts of the world are equally mapped, or it's not everywhere where we have equal access to data. So there's a huge need still to generate data for all these entities to be able to do that. So one of the things that YouthMappers students focus on is on generating open geospatial data that they can use for their own projects, but can also be used by other entities because it's already in an open and free nature. And YouthMappers students and chapters get to work on projects that they create by themselves. So say, for example, within their communities, they're able to identify data needs and create a project in response to those challenges in those areas. But also at times they get to support different organizations that are already working to create this data. And why should you join a YouthMappers chapter or join the network and start contributing? There are a number of opportunities that can be beneficial to students as they start their career journeys. I believe all our careers start when we begin learning and not actually when we graduate school. And the first thing is that you get a good chance to learn about the advances within the geospatial industry. So a good example would be such a webinar where we are all here to learn about things like Digital Earth Africa, which we can term as new technologies, things that are leveraging things to do with cloud computing and data analysis on the web. But other than this, if you go to our YouTube channel, you'll find a number of recorded webinars where we have invited a number of YouthMappers students, alumni. Also, the network is supported by a number of organizations that we have mentioned before, who have hosted and shared on a number of topics that can be useful to one. But other than that, we also have a platform called the YouthMappers Academy, where we have hosted 2 courses that would introduce anyone to open mapping, and then an advanced course following the introduction to open mapping course. And it's similar to also the courses that Dr. Ken was sharing earlier. They're online-based and self-paced. The other thing, we also have leadership and research fellowship opportunities. Just 2 weeks ago, we had a group of students who were gathered in Jamaica for the 2023 YouthMappers Leadership Summit, and they were able to receive training on not just leadership skills, but also technical skills that they can use within their career, within their schoolwork, but they can also pass it back to their chapters. Other things also include things like fieldwork programs and also project funding programs. Similarly, the YouthMappers Technical Challenge also falls under that, where chapters are able to submit sort of applications for projects that they'd like to carry out, and then they're able to receive both financial and technical support to undertake those projects. Then the last thing that I would share is that it also gives you an entry to different geospatial communities so that you're able to start contributing as a student. And even once you finish school, you're already part of these communities and able to continue contributing. So at this point, I would encourage you to check out our website, which is youthmappers.org, to get more information. If you are in a university and are not connected to a chapter, you're able to access all the chapter details on the website and contacts. But also, if you have any questions, if you're having trouble connecting with your chapter, if you'd like to create a chapter, please reach out to us on our social media pages. It's YouthMappers on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook. And then we also have an email address that you can write us to, which is info@youthmappers.org. So at this point, I'll pass it back to Maud. Thank you.
Thank you so much to you, Laura, for that very comprehensive introduction about YouthMappers. I heard you saying there are about 300 chapters across the world. That's a lot of YouthMappers. I think I'm going to actually go and study Earth observation so that I can be part of YouthMappers. What's the cutoff age, Laura? Can I ask you very quickly, what's the cutoff age to be a YouthMapper? I'm just trying to see if I fit in and if I can join. And am I allowed to join YouthMappers?
So there's actually no age limit. So it's actually open to, so long as you are a student within a university that has a chapter, or even if you're a student in a university, you're able to create a new YouthMappers chapter there. And you can be an undergrad student, a master's student, a postgrad student. So Maud, are you a student?
I'm now a student. As of this moment, I am, and I'm going to look for a YouthMappers. You guys are doing amazing work. So I want to ask you, if you are not a YouthMapper, why are you not a YouthMapper? Please connect with YouthMappers. They are very active on social media. We're going to give the details at the end, but if you just search for YouthMappers, they on almost every social media platform. There are YouthMappers, remember? So please do follow them on social media. Connect with them. I saw a question in the chat box, Laura. Someone's wanting to know your particular chapter. So if you can hop on into the chat box and respond to that query, and let's make the circle bigger, the circle of YouthMappers. Thank you so much to you, Laura, for that introduction. At this point, we're now going to meet the winners, and they're going to share a bit more about their projects. And I'm going to call onto the stage Marcela Zebalos, the Managing Director of YouthMappers. The stage is yours, Marcela.
Thank you so much, Maud. And thank you, Laura, for sharing more about YouthMappers. Hi, everyone. As Maud said, my name is Marcela Zebalos, and I'm the Managing Director of YouthMappers. And I'm very happy to introduce the 4 winning projects designed and organized by YouthMappers chapters representing East, West, and Southern Africa. And it's great to see so many YouthMappers on today's call. I'd like to begin by introducing Momo Lamine, who is representing the YouthMappers Technical University East at Eastern Technical University of Sierra Leone in Sierra Leone, and submitted the winning proposal titled Mapping Rural Water Resources and Flood Risk Areas. For this project, YouthMappers in Sierra Leone will produce geospatial data that reflects the needs of rural communities in Kenema that lack clean and safe water. Many of these communities are located in areas with high risk of flooding, which decreases the agricultural production of these regions. Due to an absence of geospatial data, these rural communities are not visible by organizations providing local aid, and placing them on the map will help determine and assess their needs accurately. I hand it over to Momo.
Yeah, can you please share my slide? Okay. Yeah. Thanks to Digital Art African YouthMappers. Of course, I'm presenting the project which titled Mapping Rural Water Resources and Risk Flood Areas. Can we see the table of contents, please? Go to the next slide. Okay. Now we are going to talk about the summary of the project and what's the purpose of the project. We talk about the goals, the timeline, and of course the platform and tools will be discussed in the goals and objective. We talk about the monitoring and evaluation, of course, risk management, results and conclusion, and communication plan. So I think we go to the next slide, which says summary of the project. Okay, for the summary of the project, now if you take a look at our districts, I'm from the eastern region of Sierra Leone, and you have Kenema, where I live presently, and I'm in school in Kenema. Of course, there are rural communities. When you go there, seriously, to see people having access to clean and safe drinking water is very difficult. So as a YouthMapper, having this opportunity to participate in to submit a proposal for the Digital Art Africa, I thought it fit that if we are able to bring these people on the map, we are able to provide a geospatial data which can be accessible by government and non-governmental organizations, can lead a better way to help these people. So there were so many project ideas, but I thought it fit that this project, if we base it on providing a map or a geospatial data by using this opportunity to help these people, we can change life, and we can help our people in terms of their health and so on. So like these people are not accessing clean water, they are not accessing safe drinking water. And you talk about the flooding area, there are some other areas, rural communities, of course. For my country, we are mainly involved in farming. So like these people are not having the needs or what they should do, or which support they need for them to be able to protect their farmlands because of flooding. So like because of this, so many of issues like hunger and poverty have affected them. Now, if you look at the map here showing on the screen, we have 2 targeted areas, and based on our research and collaborating with some local governments, we mainly understand that these 2 key areas are the key targeted area of this project. And if you look at the documents on the right and the same screen, you have a caption where we put it in a rectangle red. Of course, it was a research being done by UNICEF, and if you look at there, they talk about water, how this district is greatly affected by unclean and safe drinking water. So can we go back to the next slide? Yeah. So the purpose of the project is for us to provide the geospatial data and put these communities on the map so that they can be accessible and seen by non-governmental and government and non-governmental organization or humanitarian organization. They can be able to access and know that these people are greatly suffering from this lack of clean access to water, and these people are facing food security and hunger because of the flooding. So our purpose of this project is to map out and place these communities on the map so that we can as well contribute to the help and the support that might need from humanitarian or government organizations. So we go to the goals. So we have the goals and objective of this project. First, access to water. Of course, this is what we do, which is a survey, but our first goal of this project is access to clean and safe drinking water. With this, humanitarian organizations and governments can be able to determine and know what the percentage of water needed, clean water needed, or what have to be done. That's one of the major goals for this project. And also, this will be done, and we are going to conduct a water survey which we figure out through communities that have access to safe, clean, and drinking water, determine the distance of safe drinking water accessible by this community within the rural communities of Kenema district. And of course, we are going, before we do the survey, we are going to map these communities and place them on the OpenStreetMap, which will put their OpenStreetMap. And of course, we will have field papers, which is a sketch map given to our field workers who will be going to the field and map. And also, we'll be using the OSM and which will be used alongside with the field papers to be able to direct these youth mappers or field workers to locate these communities. And of course, we will use the Cobalt toolbox for our questionnaire, and we have our Excel, which to analyze the data. And another goal is to also provide data information relating to challenges of water resources and flooding. That is also another goal and objective of our project, of course, which will be using digital art platform to for remote sensing and GIS. Then go to the next slide. So of course, with this project also, our major goal is to be able to make sure that communities can be able to monitor water quality and access. By this, I think we'll collaborate with unsensitized community people and get people that are that have experience in clean and safe drinking water. We bring them on board and collaborate with them so that they can help us to be able to sensitize these community people, how they can monitor and access quality water and the necessary measure for water quality measures. Of course, we provide the graphics illustrating how to monitor and access water by these community people. And also, we are going to, with this also, we believe that our major goal is to also provide data for government decision making based on the geospatial data we are going to get. We believe that if we collaborate with local governments, we collaborate with Ministry of Water or the other sectors that are involved into water and water resources and flooding, of course, flood management, we collaborate with them and see that we are able to provide them with the data that they can be able to help these people. Of course, for this, we use tools like the Africa Geoportal, we have the QGIS, and the collected data can be used by government for to determine and create avenue for development and prevent infrastructural damage, road closures, and food security. Go to the next slide. So of course, we have the timeline. Can you click? Okay, first we have the first phase of the project. We have 4 phases of the project, and this is phase 1 of the project. And phase 1 is there. We are going to create a survey, a questionnaire, and database setup. And we go from there. We move to the second phase. And the second phase, which is a phase 2, will provide training and training of field staff for the data collection and field work. And we go to, from that, we go to the the third phase of the project. You can click, and the third phase of the project is the field work and data collection. We are in our youth mappers. We go out to the field, we go out to these rural communities, these targeted areas, and be able to collect the data and do the field work. And from there also, we have the fourth phase, which is the final phase of the project, and which we have the data analysis, monitoring and evaluation, and result development. Of course, in this stage, we are going to do that, the monitoring, the evaluation, and the result development. From that also, we do the documenting and sharing of the project, the deliverables, what are the challenges, how we are able to overcome these challenges, and we are going to do that also in the fourth phase. And we go to the next slide. So monitoring and evaluation. The project, of course, will be monitored and evaluated because we have to ensure that the project meets and achieve its goals and objective, and that is going to be done through the following ways. One, we describe each phase of the project and ensure that participants know what actually we want and what actually we are targeting, and we make sure and to ensure that each phase achieve its goals and produce a good outcomes. And monitoring and evaluation also be done for us to be able to identify indicators and the milestones. And of course we document methodologies applied. That is the method we use to overcome those challenges. We are going to also do that in the monitoring and evaluation phase. So we go to the next one. We have risk management. Of course, in anything you are doing, you have risks. There are some certain risks which we have seen, which we have observed that will affect our project, but we have a mitigation strategies, that is mitigation plan, or how are we going to tackle or overcome those risks. One is that the global pandemic. Of course, we make sure that we observe the global pandemic, and also for us, we have our local communities, and we have a way that we can tackle these people and talk to them for them to be able to collaborate with us and help them out to provide the data or the information we need. Of course, we have also risk with funding, but we ensure that the funds for the project are correctly used and are used purposely for the project to achieve its goals. And objective and get the better outcomes. The next slide, or we'll go to the next slide. Okay, so of course, to conclude this project, you can just follow us with this project to see the success, the progress, what are the challenges, what will we do. You can visit our Facebook page for YouthMappers Eastern Technical University, and you can know more. If you have any question, you can follow us up there at Facebook. There's the link in the screen. You can follow us up there and you can ask questions and you can know more about our project. So for that, I just want to say thank you all for participating. Thank you for giving me the audience, and thanks to YouthMappers and Digital Africa. Thank you all for giving us this support and this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Momo. I appreciate you sharing so much about your project, and we look forward to learning more through your Facebook page. Next, I'm happy to introduce Joseph Walwa, who is representing the YouthMappers chapter at Jordan University College in Tanzania, and submitted the winning project proposal titled GIS Application in Selecting Suitable Sites for Wastewater Treatment Ponds, a case of Morogoro Municipal in Tanzania. Chapters here are using the Digital Earth Africa platform for selecting suitable sites for the construction of wastewater treatment ponds. Urban wastewater management is a major environmental problem, and the study area includes popular areas where residents deposit wastewater that leaks into groundwater resources. Joseph, I hand you the virtual microphone.
Okay, thanks, Marcella. As has been introduced, I'm Joseph Mangwalo, the technical advisor of Jordan University, YouthMappers. As it been stated, our project is titled as GIS application in selected area for the construction of wastewater treatment plants. Urban water management has been a big problem in many of countries in sub-Saharan. So our study will be based on, may you go to another slide, please? Maud. Okay. I will share background of the project, objective, methodology, and quiz involvement in the sustainability of the project. So these are areas in which our project will be based on. Maud, can you? Next slide. Okay, this is the background of our project. As I've said, urban wastewater management is a big problem in many of sub-Saharan countries. So our chapters came with this idea and elected a proposal that has been won through the DEAR application with collaboration with YouthMappers. So this problem is the one that caused my chapter to come with the idea and write a proposal that is going to be implemented. Maud? Maud? Another slide? Okay. This project will be conducted in the following objectives. The first one, that is the main, is to select suitable sites for construction for wastewater treatment. As in most of growing town, there is a need of this area to treat wastewater in order to avoid eruption of diseases. So this is the main idea. I mean, the main object of conducting this field. Another, this will be accompanied by mapping the area, in which the chapter member expecting to map the area through the mappathon that it will be done by chapter members in collaboration with other universities around the Morogoro area, on which task management on how to will be the main platform in which mappathon will be conducted. It will involve both online and visual, I mean on physical mappers. So it will be involve chapter member and others member from other universities or global, that is there. Another one is field visitation. We try to visit the area in which there we collect primary data and secondary data. Primary data will be collected through ODK, that is open data kit. We will prepare a questionnaire that will be used as a guide to collect data on primary. Also, secondary data will be collected through Digital Earth Africa, in which we will capture their Sentinel-2 and Maud. Okay. Maud, another slide. In methodology that I was expecting to use as a chapter, as I've said, we expect to have primary data and secondary data. Primary data will be collected based on observation, in which member will go to the field collecting data. They will prepare questionnaire and asking questions to the implementing agents, that is Moruasa, that is the authorities that is responsible for waste and clean water management in Morogoro there. So we are expecting to go there and asking some questions on how they are doing sanitation of wastewater in the area, and in which secondary data that will be collected from OSM, in which you will capture the load network, lever network, elevation, land cover, that will be downloaded from the Digital East Africa as our main source of data. So Digital East Africa will be used as our main secondary data. Okay. On data analysis, so after all data be collected, we will using criteria to establish data to be used as suitable for the construction for wastewater treatment. Data will be computed by using weighted overlay analysis, in which ArcGIS software will be used as all of those data will be analyzed using that criteria: land cover, the land use. Okay, that is on basing of findings and implementation. Workshop and touching to the stakeholder, we are expecting to conduct that, in which local governments, that are our main stakeholders, we are going to have training workshop on how we are using this OSM technical tools, Digital East Africa. Also, the young professional will be taught on the use of Digital East Africa. Chapter member will be aware. Also, the community will be aware on the purpose of what we are going to do there at the field. Okay. Also, the finding project report will be available to the funders that are Digital East Africa plus YouthMappers, stakeholders that are, as I've been said, our main stakeholder are MORUWASA, that are Authority of Waste and the Clean Water Authority. They will obtain the report of what we have been done on this project. Also, students in my college there, they will know and they will get a report of all findings that have been obtained over there. Mount, okay. On equity and the involvement, or as we know, this is conducted based on YouthMappers policy. So in this project, we expect to involve both sexes, in which girls and boys will be involved in this project. So we will consider sex balance to ensure equality. Yeah, that is all about equity and involvement. Mount, another slide, please. Mount, okay. On sustainability, since this is the project, it has to have a sustainability. So we expect to have a knowledge transformation. This project is started by equipping fellow members and hence empower youth profession. So sustainability, we will transfer knowledge to the students on the use of these platforms, the special data, how are collected, how can be used. So that is the sustainability of the project. Okay, another project sustainability is ensured since the work will be done by collaboration with funders, stakeholders that are university, students, local government, and the government authorities that are one going to implement this project. So another funding will help to the government authorities, that is MORUWASA, to implement on the construction of wastewater treatment pond. So the one collected data will be help with these authorities in the time they want to construct places. So that is about me. I'm Joseph Manguara, tech advisor, bachelor economics holder, researcher, project management expert. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joseph, for sharing details on your process. We look forward to how activities develop in the coming weeks. Next, we have Joshua Kacheo, who is representing the MUST YouthMappers chapter at Malawi University of Science and Technology and submitted the winning project proposal titled Deforestation Mapping, Climate Change, and Food Security Assessments in Jalanyama. This project is set to expose the extent of deforestation and create awareness around the extent of deforestation and food insecurity present in Malawi. Climate change, deforestation, and food insecurity are global issues that impact communities beyond the Malawian national border. I hand over the virtual mic to you, Joshua.
Joshua, please unmute.
I was hoping that Joshua would be here, but he isn't. So I will try my level best to articulate the objectives of his project. And so I'm going to ask for your assistance, Zoom Master, in helping me do so. So the project is called the Deforestation Mapping, Climate Change, and Food Security. And it's the Jalanyama Forest Reserve in Malawi.
Okay, I do notice Joseph is unmuted. Can you hear us, Joshua? Sorry.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much. So the real owner of the project is now going to present on it. Over to you, Joshua.
It looks like we've got some huge latency issues.
No problem. I'll continue in the meantime, and then when his video is turned on, he will definitely be able to take over for the sake of time. So this is all that is part of Joshua's project. It's going to be a brief introduction and then followed by a project statement, the objectives or the goals of this project. There'll be timeline and tasks, and then it will be concluded by learnings and the trainings. Then there will be impacts, rules and guidelines, member benefits, partners, and you get to meet the project team, which unfortunately I am not a part of. In recent years, there's been an increase in the effects of climate change. There's been many cases of floods, droughts, and heat waves, which in turn have resulted in global food insecurity. One factor causing this is rapid deforestation. So the area of study, as I mentioned previously, is the Zalalama Forest Reserve in Malawi. And the nature or the significance of this particular venue or this particular place is that it supplies water to Kamuzu Dam 1 and 2, Difambwe, Lilongwe, Katete, and Kiluni rivers. It is the natural habitat for wildlife as well as agriculture. However, recently the reserve has faced increasing deforestation. Over time, deforestation is significantly causing climate change and contributing to dangerous food insecurity in Malawi. So we're now going to speak about the project goals for Joshua's project, and there are 4. The first one is exposing deforestation rate and extent of the reserve, carry out of climate change assessments within the defined buffer, carry out food security and insecurity assessments, and last but certainly not least, engaging governments, NGOs, institutions, and concerned parties into action. In terms of the timelines and the tasks for this project, the physical trainings and orientations, there will be detailed trainings on all tools and software to be used. In terms of the deforestation mapping, there will be the Digital Earth Africa Sandbox, the QGIS, which I'm hoping you understand what the acronym stands for, as well as the HOT OSM or the JOSM. My brother Kenneth, capacity development, if you know what those acronyms stand for, please help us, sister, because I have no idea what they stand for. In terms of climate change, which is the next slide, climate change assessments, there will be 3 there, which is water extent monitoring, land degradation assessments, as well as surface and air temperature monitoring. And then for the food insecurity and insecurity assessments, it will be rainfall anomalies, physical data collection, as well as interviews and surveys. Very detailed project this is. Learnings and the trainings with this project, the tools to be used is the Kobo Collect, the Digital Earth Africa platform, which is the sandbox, the QGIS, it's coming up again. Somebody please save me in the chat box so that I can recite what that acronym stands for, as well as the HOT, I hope I'm saying it correct, HOT or H-O-T, OSM or JOSM. And I know someone's going to save me by letting me know what those mean so that I can articulate Joshua's main idea. In terms of the impacts of this project, there are 3, the deforestation reduction, reforestation, and food security. Very important to note those impacts. And then there are rules and guidelines, as with everything in life. And with this project, there will be 2. The rules and guidelines, we will abide by all the rules and policies defined in this project challenge. I'm happy to hear that. And in terms of member benefits, project management and implementation, exposure and association, as well as creating a good chapter name. And now we'll be introducing the project team or the partners. The partners are going to be YouthMappers, all of you, or should I say us, because I'm also going to be part of YouthMappers, and then Digital Earth Africa. The project team, our mentor is going to be Dr. Chukwa, I think it's Chukwa, Dr. Chukwa. Our lead is Joshua, who was supposed to be presenting but isn't, but he's going to be the lead on this project, and it's going to be a 20-member team, which I hope we'll get to meet as this project unfolds. I'd like to acknowledge all the people who made this project possible. They've all been listed on the screen. I won't mention any of them, but you can see them all on the screen. Thank you so much for the support and making Joshua's project a success as it unfolds. And we look forward, and we will definitely be following this project with keen intent. Thank you so much, Marcella. I'm not Joshua, but please do look out for his project as it unfolds, and I'll hand back to you, Marcella.
Thank you so much, Maud and Must YouthMappers for organizing this activity. We'll follow their progress on all socials. Our fourth and final project is from YouthMappers at Makerere University in Uganda, and the winning proposal is titled Identifying Deforestation Hotspots over the Budongo Central Forest Reserve using the Digital Earth Africa Sandbox. For this project, YouthMappers will use the Digital Earth Africa Jupyter Sandbox to acquire and process high quality and timeless satellite imagery over the Budongo Central Forest Reserve to detect and map regions of deforestation. Areas around the forest are dominated by crop gardens and village settlements, increasing pressure on exploitation of the forest for building materials, logging operations, and bushmeat. This has threatened both plant and tree species. Michael Jarua is unable to join us today. He's a representative of the chapter who submitted the proposal, but we have a pre-recorded presentation to share with you today. The audio is initially a bit light, but stay with us and it evens out throughout the presentation. So let's have that queued up.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Michael Chiroa. I'm a final year student of geomatics at Makerere University. I'm privileged to be one of the winners of the YouthMappers Technical Challenge 2022 in collaboration with Digital Art Africa. And this is what I will be doing for my project. I will be identifying deforestation hotspots over the Budongo Central Forest Reserve using the Digital Art Africa Sandbox. The project will determine the proportion of the Budongo Central Forest Reserve that has undergone deforestation. It's in line with SDG Goal 15 and Indicator 15.31. Earth observation data will be used for this project, and the Digital Earth Africa Sandbox, Jupyter Sandbox, will be used to acquire, process, and analyze the Earth observation data. The project will provide deforestation maps to the local authorities, the Budongo Conservation Field Station, and the National Forestry Authority to help them in protecting and sustainably managing the forest. This is just an overview of Digital Earth Africa Sandbox. So the Digital Earth Africa platform provides ready for analysis products over the entire African continent, and these products are free of charge. This is our study area. It's in the western part of the country. The ones in light green are community forests around the main Budongo forest. So most of the areas around our study area are dominated by village settlements, and the population in these areas has increased, and this has consequently mounted pressure on exploitation of the forest for building materials, logging operations, and again bushmeat. So when this forest continues to be cleared or degraded, the concentration of carbon dioxide within the atmosphere is going to increase, and this will contribute to climate change. And really, the climate crisis within this country will only be stopped if we come up with a regularized effort in managing and in monitoring and controlling deforestation for higher biomass regions. For example, the Budongo Central Forest Reserve, which is a key contributor to the national ecosystem. But there are also small forests or community forests around the Budongo forest, which are being depleted at a very terrible rate, but no one is studying them and is aware of this depletion. So we will also include these forests within our scope, and we believe that the rate of their deforestation, if not monitored now, may be realized when it is too late to manage the effects. We intend to execute this by providing or by producing deforestation maps, which will then be provided to the authorities, the Budongo Conservation Field Station and the National Forestry Authority. These are our expected deliverables. We will have static deforestation maps, then a comprehensive project closure report, and blog stories by project participants. This is the team. We are 5 final year students studying geomatics at Makerere University. At the top is me, the project manager. We have Acheng Sheila, Griffin Ainom Juni, Matthias Masaba, and Jemima Kasande. I would like to extend a token of appreciation to our project stakeholders, RIIS, based in Johannesburg, South Africa, the YouthMappers chapter at Makerere University, our motherland, and also to our funders, Digital Earth Africa and the YouthMappers. I would like to thank you all very much for your audience.
Wonderful. I'd like to take this moment to say thank you again, Digital Earth Africa, for the opportunity to collaborate and support university students within the YouthMappers network. We're looking forward to sharing project updates on our social media platforms, so stay tuned to learn about each chapter's process and progress in the coming weeks, and I will drop our contact information and links to our socials in the chat. Thank you again.
Thank you again to you, Marcella. It's been a long haul for you, but we've reached the end of the presentations. And I want to wish the projects well as they embark on it. We certainly will be looking out on your social media pages as those projects unfold. We're now going to present the certificates. I have been informed that the certificates are in your inbox to all those who presented today, but I thought for the sake of the audience, let's put them on screen and you can get to see the certificates that have been sent to the 4 leaders that you got to meet today. So they are in pairs, starting with the first 2, which is the YouthMappers Technical University East, which is in Eastern Technical University of Sierra Leone. Second one is the YouthMappers at Jordan University College, which is Jordan University College. The third one is the MUST YouthMappers, which is the Malawi University of Science and Technology. And last but certainly not least, is the YouthMappers at Makerere University. Congratulations to these 4 winners. Yet again, I repeat that these certificates are in your inbox waiting for you, and congratulations once again on your success. We look forward to seeing those projects unfold in YouthMappers leaders. It's been so awesome having you in our company. On the screen now is an opportunity for you to connect with us. I don't want you to leave here feeling like you didn't have an opportunity to. And so on the screen are our contact details. I say our because this is a joint event with YouthMappers. You can connect with us via our websites, www.digitalearthafrica.org or youthmappers.org. We're both on Twitter, Digital Earth Africa and YouthMappers, both on LinkedIn. We're also both on YouTube. And because it's YouthMappers, you're all over. YouthMappers on Facebook as well as on Instagram. Lots of options for you to choose from. Please do connect with us. Let's keep this conversation going, and also so that we can track these winning projects as they begin to unfold. I love capturing moments, and
colleagues from Geoscience Australia, Rebecca, who's our champion for this program. She's been with us the last 3-4 years, making sure that our gender diversity and inclusion program is there, and you can actually see the fruits. And she's waking up at 3 a.m. to make sure we deliver. So thank you so much, Geoscience Australia and partners, and also our colleagues from the Program Management Office in South Africa. We had Makota, Farah, Nale, Maud herself, and also we had Chico Mdimo, head of operations, and also we had Edward Boma calling from Ghana, technical manager, Joseph Tushimire calling from Rwanda, and myself, Ken, calling from Kenya, with my colleague Victoria Nyaga, also based in Kenya, I representing Katoza, and of course, Laura from YouthMappers, who was also one time my student, and happy to see she's doing very well. And also Marcella, who's been in the program and also has lived in Ghana as well. So she understands how things operate here. And
it's been such an honor to host you. This is meant to be a live session only. We host these live sessions every single Wednesday right here at Digital Earth Africa at 11 a.m. GMT. This week was in English. The one next week is going to be in French. And so if you speak French, we have you covered next week, same time. Please do join us. It would be so lovely to host you. Until we meet again, it's been such an honor being your MC for this very special event. Let's keep connected on our social media pages. Everything is on the screen for you right now. We look forward to engaging. We look forward to seeing the projects unfold and to really creating this or making the circle bigger of Earth observation and geospatial scientists across the continent and the world. Until we meet again, please take care and be safe. I'm sure we will meet again at another Digital Earth Africa or YouthMappers event. Take care, and depending on where you're joining us from across the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night.